Orson Welles, I'm Joseph Cotton, man. As a Citizen Kane, go for it. Ask me a good question. Where fire can come from the sky and bring flame into the room. People will bootleg this tape on the outtakes. Here we go.
It's very hard to remember all this stuff because memory is kind of like a thin gauzy veil that's pulled down between you and the actual event that happens, and you forget a lot and it's kind of distorted. And I really don't remember a whole lot about that night, but I do remember going to Rodney's English Disco. My cousin and a friend of the family took me up there. We hitchhiked to Hollywood, got a ride with some like cholo guys in the back of a van, and we were smoking pot, and we went up there, and I think it was Rodney that had introduced me to Kim. Well, he was like, "This is Kim Fowley," and I was like, "Hi," I didn't know who he was or what he did. I didn't know anything about him. And he was like, "Well, she's a songwriter," and they laughed at me because I was a kid. I was like, 13 years old. So they were like, "Well, let's hear what you got." So I laid some of my stuff on him, and they shut up immediately. And Kim was like, "Here's my number." Kim wants to know every little thing. What do you listen to? And then he went on his spiel to say who he was and what he did.
You know who Gene Vincent was? He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was his producer, one of the 7 guys who produced him. I produced new music sequences for American Graffiti. My name's on the screen. The first platinum rock and roll soundtrack album. That's who I am.
So we would talk on the phone, and I would recite my stuff to him, and he liked it a lot. And he was like, I work with a lot of people. I think that I should sign you to a contract. And I signed the contract on my 14th birthday. Well, I used to see Joan on the bus. I think I spoke to her that I want to start a band, and then I think her response was like, why don't we start a band? If Susie Quattro can do it, we could do it.
We were on tour in America, and I saw this girl sitting in the lobby of the hotel. I think it was the Continental Hyatt House, and she had my jacket, my haircut, and she was waiting for me to arrive.
She's got the jeans, she's got the black shirt, she's got the sunglasses, she's got the haircut, she's got the look. This girl looks like a junior Susie, but she doesn't talk to Susie, she doesn't approach Susie, she doesn't talk to anybody. She just sits there, and she's in the lobby all day.
And then I saw her after that at just about every show in the lobby of every hotel. Bless her.
Susie was a little, I would say put off, but a little wary. And I think it was also, without regard to reality, Susie being very straight, very married, was always a little bit wary about female fans coming on too strong and what their motives were. Was it sexual?
Joan Jett was like Gary Cooper. She didn't say much. Or like Clint Eastwood. Yeah? Okay. You ready to work? Uh-huh, yeah. You want to kick ahead? Yeah. Do you want to take over the world? You bet I do. Okay. Let's go find some people who want to do that too. So we did.
My friends said, "You want to go to Starwood? We're going to hang out and see some bands and then, trip around town." And I went to Starwood, we watched a band, and then, hey, everybody, all the stars hang out at the Roxy and the Rainbow afterwards, the parking lot. And my friend goes, "That's Kim Fowley, who's, written for Kiss and Alice Cooper." So I marched right up to him. I said, "Listen, I'm 15 and a half years old. I've been playing in live rock bands since I was 13, been drumming since I was 9. Here's my number." He went, "Well, as a matter of fact, I'm working with a 14-year-old lyricist. I think she knows she has a friend in the Valley that I think plays electric guitar." The next night he calls with Joan's number. So I give Joan a call, and I got a drum set, a Marshall amplifier, a Les Paul guitar up in my room. "You want to come on down and jam with me?" Because all I really know is I play the records, and I just know Susie Quattro numbers. "Mom, I don't care, whatever." I'm playing Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. So she comes down 3 buses later to Huntington Beach from the Valley, little Sears guitar, real quiet, real meek, little leather jacket on, little Susie Quattro hairdo. So we start jamming one of Susie's songs. I went, "It's got good rhythm, She stays on top of it."
Okay, in Hollywood, our drummer Sandy and I met our producer Kim Fowley at a different time during the week. And we got together, Sandy and I, and jammed. And it sounded really good, so the 2 of us got together, and Kim and Sandy and I found the other girl.
I see. Okay.
Joan actually came to our house first, and they started jamming out. And then Kim. Well, when Kim walked in our door, he was bad news as far as I was concerned. First of all, he walked in an orange suit, and I saw this big, enormous guy come in my door. I didn't know whether to throw him out or laugh at him.
They were nervous. They didn't understand. They were concerned that your young daughter venturing and meeting a Hollywood producer was probably not the thing they were expecting me to come home with.
As I look back, and Sandy won't agree with me, I should have tied her to the bed and said, you can't do this. But you know, you can't really take your children's dreams away. You have to be there and support them and love them no matter what. And that's really what that all turned out to be.
At that point, when that little rendezvous was shaped up down at Sandy's house, she was playing, Joan was playing, and I was there. And I remember, I don't know if Kim called or I called him, and he was like, well, have him play so I can listen over the phone. From then on, it was pretty much out of my hands, because he smelled money. He's not stupid. You know, and from then on, I was just like, I'm just going to write songs for the band and just, you know, take a little backseat. I mean, what could I do? I was just a songwriter. I was a teenager, you know?
Yeah, I was dancing at a club called the Starwood one night, and Rodney Bingenheimer was walking up to every girl there saying, do you play an instrument? Do you play an instrument? And I said, yeah, I play guitar. And he said, how old are you? And I got real cocky and I said, 15. And Rodney almost wet himself right then and there. Said, oh, you have to come with me right now. Come see Kim Fowley. He's putting together this band called the Runaways. So a couple of friends of mine and I got in a car with him and drove over to meet Kim Fowley, which is an experience I will never forget. We walked in, it was this tall freak with this disaster of an apartment and just this very overwhelming presence. And as soon as I walk in, Rodney says, well, this is going to be your new guitarist. And Kim looks at me and says, great, well, on the road, it'll be a battle between you and the drummer for who's going to be the leader of the band, and they'll all wear heels and you won't, so you're the same height when you walk in everywhere. And he had me scared shitless. He had me convinced that Sandy was going to beat the crap out of me at the audition. So, of course, I walk into the audition just not knowing what to expect, and the only band members at the time were Joan and Sandy. And I walk in, and Joan is standing there in front of this massive Marshall amp, and the only song that all three of us knew was Kiss's Strutter. So that's what I played auditioning on lead guitar, and I hated them, they hated me. So that was it. I did not get into the band.
The very first phone conversation I had with Kim Fowley, he pumped me up so big. I mean, we're gonna tour the world, play in front of thousands of people, make lots of money, and I mean, holy shit, you know, how could anybody refuse? So I packed up my gear and I drove into Hollywood and auditioned. Everything that he said to me was in my mind when I walked in that room. I was on tour already. I was playing the arenas and playing the stadiums, and you know, what he didn't tell me was that I was gonna have to work my ass off for years and years and years and years, and then maybe you can buy yourself a new Corvette.
The really exciting part was when Lita Ford came down to audition for bass. She brought her Gibson SG guitar, too. So on break, when those guys were out of the room, we started playing a Deep Purple. She brought the electric guitar, man, I was just, wow, God, this is great. This girl can play guitar.
Sandy and I hit it right off. We're both listening to Deep Purple. We're both huge Deep Purple fans. So I went in and I rattled off the guitar solo to Highway Star. And Sandy automatically knew, you know, the drum parts, all the drum parts to Highway Star. So me and her just jammed on that song and fell in love with each other. By the end of the song, it was automatic bonding. And Joan sort of stood there going, oh, this is great, man, this is great. Cool.
I was very excited to get Lita in the groove because I thought it was a good contrast of having Joan, such a great rhythm, and then having Lita to be able to solo and flavor things.
We all got along great, and I loved everybody except for Kim Fowley. He really got on my nerves. He kept calling me names, calling everybody dog puck and scum.
He prefixed everything with the word dog in front of it. Dog shit, that's not right. Do it again.
And of course, I think it was all in fun. It was just he was just trying to get a charge out of us, you know, and get us to like show some emotion. Well, I showed so much emotion, I just packed up and left. One day, the girls called me and they said, Lita, we want you to come back. And I said, yeah, but Kim is a Fruit Loop and he drove me crazy and how am I going to deal with him? And, you know, the girls felt the same way. They were like, yeah, he's a lunatic, but, you know, deal with it.
I enjoyed being different. You know, being a twin, I was really fighting to find my own identity. You know, my twin sister was always the prettier one. She was the cooler one. She always had all the friends. I was the meek twin, the runt. So we met Kim Fowley at the Sugar Shack. I was sitting at the bar, drinking a Coke, and he walked up behind me, tapped me on the shoulder, and first thing he says is, my name's Kim Fowley. I'm a producer. Do you sing or do you play an instrument?
I don't know that it was a conscious thing that he said, oh, I'm going to go out and get me a thin blonde girl to balance this thing out, to make a contrast. But I think when he did see her, his mind probably sparked and went, this is perfect. This is something I can exploit. This is going to go good here.
Well, when Kim asked if I was interested in auditioning, and I said absolutely, he took my phone number, called me the following day, and told me to learn a Suzi Quatro song.
So, out of all the songs on your Mama Won't Like Me album, I picked Fever, for Christ's sakes. I was terrified. I mean, I had sang Fever till it was coming out my ass. So Joan walks over, she goes, all right, what song did you learn? Of course, I say, Fever? She turns around, she looks at the girl, she goes,